yeah, he's deceiving as he was coming into the contest. I looked at him and I thought, I looked at the two, and you had the old cliche, never judge a book by its cover. That certainly applies here, because there you go.
Well, we talked about the possibility and that right hand, and he's got there, and he's not going to get up. He's not going to get up. Well, that is a disastrous introduction.
I went in to check on what the Young Turks were doing. I do this from time to time. This thumbnail caught my eye because it's a picture of a white guy getting arrested. Or I guess he's getting released here. But he did something bad, and that something bad that he did was rape. Now, it's always been my personal philosophy that rape is usually bad. But I found it a little bit weird that the Young Turks chose to highlight a case where a white did the raping. I mean, this is seriously man bites dog. This is man rapes dog. Actually, that does happen more often than dog raping man. So I'm not up to date with the 2020 stats on that, but trust me. So I guess miraculously, they decided to not cover every black rapist who has ever raped. And they went with this guy, and they say, shameful, sexual assault law lets rapist go free. Okay, and it takes place in Minnesota, so, a bunch of white people up there just raping, apparently. So tell us what this guy did, and let's talk about rape today.
On Wednesday, the Minnesota Supreme Court overturned the conviction of Francois Mamadou Khalil, who stands accused of sexually assaulting a woman in 2017. He picked up a woman who'd been turned away from a bar for being too intoxicated, invited her to a party, and then he took her back to his house where there was no party.
What is a party? An official thing? What do you want? Pin the tail on the donkey? The party was in his pants. We all know what he was doing.
As detailed in a 6-0 Supreme Court decision. Now, this decision is going to be easy, right? 6-0. This guy is terrible, as you're about to see.
Okay, hold on. Now, the TYT camera is out of focus and will be for this entire thing. I just want to say that you're not going crazy. This guy is blurry and fat. Let's go back to the name of the guy, Francois Mamadou Khalil. Not exactly John Smith. Francois Mamadou Khalil. Now, at this point, I was a little bit alarmed. You could say, I smell bullshit here.
Hold. It's shocking and terrible which direction this went. They explained further, the woman who'd taken shots at a prescription narcotic before meeting Khalil fell asleep on his couch. She woke up to find Khalil penetrating her.
So this is always very weird. It's a very easy thing to just virtue signal and say rape bad and not give a shit about a false accusation or justice or what actually happened. So we're going to hear one side of this story. And that is a woman took prescription narcotics, okay, yeah, before meeting Khalil, fell asleep, woke up, she was being penetrated. That's one recollection of it. What if Khalil said, we hooked up, it was consensual, she wasn't asleep? I mean, it's kind of bullshit. Look, I've been out with women. It's very rare that you see a sleeping woman and you just penetrate her. Very rare. Like, it's just not how things happen. Now I do it because I'm married and so I'm protected by the law. But if it's a strange girl, you just don't do that. And so when you hear something like this, it sounds like bullshit because it is bullshit.
They explained further, the woman who'd taken shots at a prescription narcotic before meeting Khalil fell asleep on his couch. She woke up to find Khalil penetrating her.
They explained? Who's they? Who's explaining this? If she's not conscious, what is her recollection? And also, this is how these stories get twisted, where it's like, say you were unconscious. Don't say that you were awake but wasted and made your decision. So I don't understand how you get wasted, you do things while wasted, and then now you're not responsible for what you did, what you chose. That's not how drunk driving works. So why is drunk sexing any different? I mean, you have to have a case that this guy, against your will, had sex with you. And I mean, at the bare minimum, if your case is, I'm saying that he did that, okay, then it's a she said, he said. Because he says he didn't.
A prescription narcotic before meeting Khalil fell asleep on his couch.
I like that she lost consciousness again. Yeah, it's called going to sleep. What is so dramatic? She lost consciousness. Yeah, we all lose consciousness. I just woke up from a lack of consciousness, as in I woke up.
When she woke up sometime after 7 in the morning, she saw her shorts around her ankles.
Well, it's very convenient. It was very, I mean, they say chivalry is dead. He put the shorts around her ankles so she could find them, put on her shorts, and get the hell out. Time for the walk of shame, sweetie.
Now, as if this horrific rape wasn't bad enough.
How is it horrific? Right now it sounds like sweet, sweet love. Completely consensual. But no, we're on a tirade about rape is terrible and this guy is the Genghis Khan of rapists.
Now comes the horrible twist.
He faked his orgasm?
They explained in his appeal, Khalil didn't challenge that version of events.
What? No, he didn't challenge the version of events of, we went back to my place, we had sex, then we went to sleep. I'm sure that the defense team said, what are the charges against my client? He's a rapist. Yeah, we agree with that. It's a short trial.
He also did not challenge prosecutors' argument that he knew or could have figured out that the victim was extremely intoxicated.
Yeah, the key word is extremely. They were both drunk. I mean, have you ever heard of drunk consent? My God, drinking is a social lubricant for a reason.
Instead, his lawyers argued that the victim wasn't mentally incapacitated as required under the state's third-degree criminal sexual assault law.
Exactly. You'd have to be very, very drunk to be mentally incapacitated. And once again, you'd have to establish that. And also, even having said that, and this is the whole point of this story, if she's the one doing the drinking, as in she's not being force-fed this alcohol, then how is it not her responsibility what she does while drunk? And if you're saying, oh, she was completely drunk and she was attacked, where is the evidence?
Under that law, someone qualifies as mentally incapacitated only if they do not drink or take drugs of their own free will.
Exactly. So you're responsible for your actions. That's a message that a lot of progressives don't want to hear. Sorry, regressives.
So it counts as incapacitated if somebody gave you the drugs or the alcohol. But if you had a beer on your own in Minnesota, you can be legally raped.
What? That is not the interpretation of that statement, Cenk. If you had a beer, you can be legally raped. Come on. Hyperbolic much? No, you have to have a case. You have to establish that you were raped.
It went 6-0, saying he not guilty. They removed it to a lower court and they ruled in his favor. That's unbelievable. Adrian, you're a legal expert. How can this be true? Isn't this the most dangerous thing you've ever seen?
Well, look, let me connect the dots a little bit for you here. It's a guy in Minnesota, okay? We had this with Brock Turner. You guys remember Brock Turner. It's a white guy up there. Look at your thumbnail. It's an entitled, privileged white guy who thinks that the world is owed to him. And so he takes a woman out. She's resistant. So what does he do? He kind of drugs her. He kind of says, hey, there's a party at my place. Let's do this. Gets her completely wasted, then sleeps with her when she's unconscious. And then he gets away with it. So I want to show you a picture of this white guy because you got to see the face of modern day rape and just understand that white people have been doing this, getting away with this for years, just years. Okay, here's a Slate article, and this is the kind of places where the Young Turks get their half-assed news story that they just burp out opinions about. Minnesota Supreme Court throws out rape conviction because victim chose to get drunk. Yeah, it was probably a pretty weak case. And there's a picture of a courthouse, and what? Where is the picture of the very oddly named Francois Mamadou Khalil? Where are you at, white guy? Okay, nothing there. That's weird. Because usually, they show the rapist. Let's see here. NBC News. Click on that. Drunk rape victim was not mentally incapacitated. Oh, fuck, I hate it when it does that. Gotta click this, and it's a whole thing. Drunk Reiki victim was not mentally incapacitated. Minnesota Supreme Court rules. Okay, there's that Supreme Court again. Where's the rapist? Where is it? No picture of the rapist. Okay, NBC failed me. Here's local news. Local news will have it. Hold on. Who is Francois Mamadou Khalil? Exactly. Rape victims who drink willingly, not mentally incapacitated, rules Minnesota Supreme Court. Still not asking for it. Okay, well, you're an ice queen. That's the judge or a judge. Okay, who is Francis? Here we go. What? Is that the girl that was raped? No, that's just some politician. What? Where is this man? It shouldn't be hard to find. This is a famous case. Everyone's talking about it. Brock Turner. You type in Brock Turner, here's Brock Turner. Everywhere. They are not shy about showing you Brock Turner. Why would they be shy about showing us Francois Mamadou Khalil? Business Insider. They must have it. Hold on. Okay, that's the judge. No, there's no picture of the rapist. This is getting really straight up weird. CBS? Do you have it? Rape victim? No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It took me and my crack research team a long time to find an image of this man. You had to go through court records within the state of Minnesota. And do you know what we found? There is Francois Mamadou, or here they have it Molu Khalil, a black immigrant of some fucked up Middle Eastern African descent, and he raped a white woman. Correct. So this is part of a racist trend of blacks raping whites, which does not happen in reverse. So hold on, let me do a side-by-side. Here's your thumbnail saying, shame, shameful, a rapist set free, fucking whites. And then here's the guy. What had happened? What's going on here, Cenk? What's going on? Making it a little bit obvious. Wow. Let me get a close-up. There he is, man. Just raping up a storm. Blacks. Who knew? I mean, the audacity to, one, not mention race in this. I mean, if this was a white guy having raped a black woman, do you think we would see the picture of the white guy? Do you think they'd talk about race? Oh, they might talk about race. Let's continue.
This is absolutely unfortunate, and this gentleman is disgusting.
Hold on, this gentleman right here? Wait, which gentleman? This gentleman or this gentleman?
And I have no problem with this full prosecution to the extent possible, but unfortunately this ruling was correct. And the Minnesota Supreme Court did the right thing. And what they're essentially saying here is that under the law, it's defined as mentally incapacitated for it to be third-degree criminal sexual assault. That requires, the individual didn't drink or take the drugs of their own free will, because that's what mental incapacitation is. Because the law requires that you have formulated the ideas in your mind that you're able to do the things that you're doing. So if you're driving and you're drunk, then you can be mentally incapacitated if for some reason maybe someone spiked your drink and you had no idea. But otherwise, you can't be. And so there are a lot of defenses under the law, and the way it's structured is such that to be mentally incapacitated, you did not do this incapacitation of your free will. And so what the Minnesota Supreme Court did is they stuck to interpreting the law. And it sucks, but at the same time, it's the only way the other laws will hold up. And what they are saying is, legislature, you need to change the law, because we know this is wrong. And they even noted that in the footnote. We know that morally, ethically, this is not okay. You need to change the law, and you know it. And so apparently there's supposed to be legislation on the books right now being proposed to change this, to cut out these loopholes so that you can just rape people.
There was no rape. They have to prove the rape. And so now what are you suggesting? Someone drinks, and it's my job as the rapist, as the man having sex, I have to determine if her drunkenness is to a state your legal definition of mental incapacitation? I'm trying to find the sweet spot between her willing to have sex with me and her being totally mentally incapacitated. But this is an arbitrary line. This is a social construct. Now, I'm joking a little bit in my style here, but it is very difficult to determine how drunk someone is. And if they're acting, like, for example, is this girl saying she said no at any point? No. Did you hear her say that? Was any evidence produced that she said no or resisted at all? No. So in other words, her body in its drunken state acted like a consensual sexual partner. That's very likely to be the case. And for it not to be the case, it would have to be established. I'm sick of people just fantasizing about something and just pretending like it's some true thing. Like, oh, it definitely was a rape. Then why even have the court case? You guys are so sure of it. I mean, God, at least give wind to his defense. What does the other guy say? What did Francois say? And by the way, I'm sticking up for a black man. Does that make your little black ears perk up? Look at Cenk putting himself on a black panel like this. Wow. Good shit, Cenk.
It's not okay.
Yeah, I want to be clear here as we go that what Adrian is saying is that the Supreme Court unfortunately ruled correctly based on the law. The law is what the problem is in Minnesota.
Yeah, those darn laws.
And so right now, it's a nightmare situation. If you have a beer on your own and you get incapacitated because of that, technically somebody can get away with raping you. And
yeah, when this decision came out, beer sales went through the roof. And this is the same guy who said that women are genetically defective because they don't want to have sex enough. And he believes that you should be able to fuck a horse, so long as the horse gets off. So basically, he's a moral saint when it comes to sexual affairs.
That cannot stand. They must change that law tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the post game as well for our members, because I want to let Waz weigh in on that too, and then we'll also do some lighter stories. So tyt.com/join to become a member, or hit the join button below.
It's always kind of shocking to sort of confront how much.
Oh, Waz is here. He's got some opinions and shit. This guy's gonna spit game at us. Get ready.
So many people hate women. It's kind of crazy, and
Sweet. It does not mean that at all, but okay. Good virtue flex.
I'm not even just talking about the guy who raped this young woman. I'm talking about.
But he was literally loving the woman. He made love to her.
I'm not even just talking about the guy who raped this young woman.
Oh, you're talking about Francois? You're talking about your fellow black, the rapist? You guys rape more than anyone? You think he hates women?
About the legislators, like the people.
Yeah. Those dudes hate women too.
Who put these laws on the books, right? Like this idea that
the laws on the books that protect everyone and are thought out, you think they're hateful of women? That would seem to need an argument to support it. Kind of an outlandish and stupid statement.
You deserved it, or you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, you drank, you got into a car. The car didn't sexually assault you. You drove the car into a tree. You're responsible.
Or it's your fault, or et cetera, et cetera. Adrian brought up a wonderful point. The six justices, they just read the law and interpreted it correctly.
Didn't you just say that the legislators don't like women? And they're trying, what was the point you just said? They did the right thing. And now you're blaming them.
And it needs to be changed. And another part of this, this guy needs to be prosecuted for sure.
Yeah, man, Francois, the brother, the rapist, And
I do wonder, because I don't think this gets talked about enough when we do talk about rape, because I don't know why we have such a punitive culture.
Punitive culture? You gave this rapist a total pass because he's black. You didn't post a picture of him. You didn't seek it out. You made nothing of it. He's getting off scot-free. For fun, you go look up Francois Khalil into Google and you try to find a picture of him. It's damn near impossible.
I wonder how much is being done for this young woman to recover, to get her life back.
Yeah, man, this poor rape victim, I care about the rape victims. Hey, hit me up in DMs, y'all. I'm like that.
Like, what kind of resources are available to a person who gets victimized this way? I wonder about that. Obviously, I want to see this guy get his just due, but I wonder how this poor woman is carrying on after experiencing something so horrible and traumatic. And then, the people who are supposed to be protecting you and helping you, they have these horrible laws on the books that are basically anti your existence.
What? If you get drunk and do stuff, it's your responsibility. If you think you're raped, prove it.
Loathe your existence as a woman. It's
the law applies to men too. What are you talking about as a woman? The law doesn't say if you're mentally incapacitated as a woman.
It's awful. This is just no other way to put it.
The system is so stacked against minorities.
What? Say what? Oh man, Cenk just got caught up in the fever of it all. The jungle fever of it. He's got two blacks on. He's just like, fuck it. This is about the system being against minorities. The guy you're talking about is black and he was let off based off the stupid law you're talking about. How is the system stacked against minorities? A minority raped a white, a glorious white.
Women, etc. That you have to make points like this for it to break through to right wingers.
Hey, right wingers, you're so dumb. What are you doing? Why can't you understand that Cenk knows more than you?
The reality is, if you're a guy who drinks too much and passes out in Minnesota, you can also be raped.
That sounds gay and gross, therefore. So Cenk, that was my point a second ago, and it proves that this whole thing of the system stacked against women doesn't make sense because the same law applies to men. And by the way, there's such a thing called the gay community. Do you think they go out and drink and get mentally incapacitated? Yes, they do all the time.
So I bet if you said it like that, that law would be changed within the week.
No, Cenk, I just said, this happens to gays. And what do you mean that law would be changed? Women are more than half of the voting bloc. So if there's some law that's anti-woman, why don't you tell them to fucking change it?
And it's true, right? It just doesn't happen that often. It happens in other contexts, sometimes in prisons and military, etc., right?
Jake, how do you know so much about male rape? Such a weird, odd, Muslim, fat, gross thing for you to talk about.
But if you told guys, hey, if you pass out at a frat party, you're open season, anybody can rape you. They'd be like, that, what?
Jake, that is not an interpretation of this law. If you pass out, anyone can rape you. This is like watching a game of telephone. Maybe that's a reference that people don't understand. You guys, we didn't have video games in the 1980s, okay? Here's the game we played. All right, listen, Zoomers, get over here. Come around the campfire. We used to whisper a word. Okay, you sit around in like a circle at school. This is what we did for fun. You whisper a word into someone's ear or a phrase, and then they have to whisper it in the person next to them, into their ear. And it goes all the way around the circle, and when it finally gets back to the origin point, the person says the word or the phrase, and you see how much it changed over the course of the telephone game. And we played that game and no one had complaints. It was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome right now. Shit is lit. I am having fun currently.
What? Right? But this law's been on the books for decades in Minnesota.
Because it makes sense and is there for a reason.
And nobody's batted an eye. It's amazing. So look, if I keep going, it'll take half an hour to vent my anger on. Look,
on the fact that women don't fuck you?
I didn't even know how, growing up, I didn't know how bad patriarchy was.
What?
But you gotta open your mind.
Cenk, you are a known sexist scumbag. You got kicked out of the Justice Democrats because you're a fucking sexist.
And perspectives to see other people's perspective, okay?
Oh, like Francois Momolu Khalil, his perspective that you totally ignore and discredit?
And understand, we were all taught, like, I call it software, right? We were all brainwashed to believe certain things.
Like what, Cenk? What were you taught to believe?
And unfortunately, our society brainwashes you that white males are supposed to get everything and everybody else has to be apologetic and ask for it.
The gall, the fucking balls on this guy. White males are supposed to get everything? A black man raped a white woman, got out of the charge, and he finishes this stupid video with, fucking white men get away with everything, don't they? See, maybe you guys thought I was overplaying my hand. Like, oh, okay, Devin, they picked a white guy in the thumbnail, but they don't talk about whites. No, the whole point, we're at the crescendo of the video, and it's to say fuck whites. You can pull a fuck whites out of a black guy raping a white woman? Oh, wow. Well, let me tell you, Cenk, fuck the Turks. And I say that from the middle of Berlin. Fuck the Turks.
And you know, and you can set the rules against those folks. And it's perfectly normal. They made us believe it's normal. And it's not normal.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, your racism is not normal, Cenk. It's astonishing, my friends, what is going on here. This is truly not normal, what you're witnessing. This dude just shamelessly pulled a fuck white racism card out of a black raping a white. And his audience is such a pile of dog shit that they don't know that they just got duped. They don't care. They're not going to call him out for it. It will have no consequence. Oh, but someone noticed. Your boy, Devin Tracy, UCLA graduate. UCLA just made it into the Final Four as an 11 seed, taking out Alabama, the number 2 seed, taking out the Michigan Wolverines. We're in the Final Four. All right, that's incredible. Go Bruins, and keep it up, whites. Good job not raping anyone.
Yo quiero comerte toda, el de las medias yo te beso toda. Quédate conmigo y le picheo a toda. Como tú ninguna tú le ganas toda. Por eso bebé yo quiero comerte toda, el de las medias yo te beso toda. Quédate conmigo y le picheo a toda. Me dice bebecita y nos vamos a todas. Pa' comerte.
Que como yo no hay dos, prendiendo uno haciéndolo, olvidándonos del reloj. Y que cuando ella te habla tú te imaginas mi voz. Yo ya lo descubrí, que tú eres para mí, que yo soy para ti. Baby, quédate aquí más cerquita de mí. Él no me lo hace así. Tú quieres comerme toda, él me lo hace a mí y tú me besas toda. Quédate conmigo y piche a toda. Como yo ninguna, yo le gano a toda. Ven, come
las a medias yo te beso toda.